Thank you. Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Administrator, good morning.
Good morning.
With respect to the Green New Deal climate change portion of the President's infrastructure bill, how much is it going to lower world temperatures?
Well, I think there's a focus on the American Jobs Plan and the President's climate goals.
Yes, sir, but how much is it going to lower world temperatures? That's the purpose of it.
I think when we look at the climate summit and the target that the President will announce along with the rest of the world, we'll see comprehensively what collectively all of the world.
Have you done any modeling? I'm just trying to understand. You're asking us to appropriate $2.3 trillion and to tax corporations $1.7 trillion, at least 50% of which will fall on the backs of workers, because when you tax something, you get less of it. And a big purpose of the infrastructure bill is to lower world temperatures. I mean, that's what global warming, climate change is. So my question is simple. What does your modeling show? How much will this lower world temperatures?
I think the science shows that we collectively have to pursue a target to lower.
I understand the target, but what I'm sorry to interrupt, but
sure.
I understand the target. The target is 1 degree centigrade. I get that part. How much will this bill lower world temperatures?
I think the answer to that is dependent upon, in concert with how much this bill plus other actions outside of the bill look at in concert with reducing those targets while creating jobs.
Have you done any modeling?
Yes, we've done.
What do your models show in terms of how much this bill will lower world temperatures or slow the progression of CO2 emissions?
I don't think the modeling speaks specifically to what this bill in isolation will do. I think the modeling shows the targets that we have to look forward to. And so in addition to this bill, for instance, there are statutory authorities and other powers.
But why are we doing this if we don't understand, haven't done modeling to show how much it's going to lower world temperature or lower the progression of CO2 emissions and methane?
I think, Senator, we're doing this because the jobs plan proves that we're doing more than just focusing on climate, that we're positioning ourselves to be global leaders on technology.
I get all that, Mr. Administrator. I'm not trying to just pick on you, but sure. This is what Deputy Foreign Minister Li Zhongqing said last week of China on April 16th. Quote, "Some countries are asking China to do more on climate change. I'm afraid this is not realistic." So China produces about a third of the world's, really about 28% to be fair, of the world's CO2, okay? If they're not going to participate, and we're going to spend $2.3 trillion, a lot of it is climate change, surely you can give us an estimate of how much it's going to slow the progression of CO2 and how much it's going to lower world temperature.
Well, I'm not quite sure I take the statement at face value from the Chinese representative.
Well, maybe he's a liar, but let's put that aside.
China's investing a lot of money in renewable energy and battery storage and being globally competitive in the very areas that this job bill
I understand.
highlights.
You don't have a figure, do you, Mr. Administrator?
A figure of?
How much this is going to lower world temperature or reduce the progression of CO2 in the United States?
I don't have a figure in front of me that specifies how much in isolation this bill lowers the world temperature based on just U.S. participation.
Right. So we're just going to spend $2.3 trillion and find out? I think on a wing and a prayer?
I think the American Jobs Plan looks at more than just a prayer and a whim. I think it looks at some really good metrics that shows that we can create.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm about to run out of time. Let me ask. Let me ask let me ask my former colleague, the State Treasurer, our new Commerce Secretary. to build credibility with the Congress, the taxpayers, and his own credibility, as a first step to paying for this $2.3 trillion bill, why wouldn't President Biden turn to the Congress and say, I want you to take a look at the discretionary spending in your budget and scrub it?
I don't think it's an either or. The president is calling for a historic investment in infrastructure, as you say, $2 trillion. He believes that that's what's necessary. And
what budget reductions is he recommending?
We're all going through our budgets every day and looking for ways that we can be more efficient. But the truth of it is, we need an investment.
Yes, how much money do you think you're going to reduce your budget?
Say it again.
How much money do you think you're going to reduce your budget?
I don't have a great answer to that at the moment, but I can promise you it's not enough. We're not going to save our way out of decades of underinvestment in R&D and in infrastructure. Yes, we need to run an efficient, effective government, and the president's clear with us about that. We also need to invest to grow and to compete and to regain our competitive advantage.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I've had a number of senators go way over their time, including the last one. I've tried, these are important enough questions. I want to make sure that both Republicans and Democrats are heard, but I've been told, and I know that a number of senators in both parties want to get to caucuses, so we're going to be a little bit